It will be found on your mobile. Do we have it on a board? A display board? Not got. Okay. Ooh. Yeah. It's a beautiful song of Bhaktivinoda Thakura describing how the mercy of the great Thakuras, the Vaisnava Thakuras, those pure eternal associates of the Lord, who come into this world for some time to our vision. They're always here in one sense, but we see them for a short while. But as you may know, the secret of spiritual good fortune is the association of such pure souls. They appear, they leave their instructions behind. They inspire everyone who's fortunate enough to come into contact with them. In the case of our Srila Prabhupada, establish an institution to facilitate the ongoing dissemination of the message, Krishna consciousness. This is unique, and especially in our day and age, there may be many challenges involved, but we can see that this is effective means of achieving achieving the objective, to awaken, to some degree at least in the hearts of all conditioned souls, a connection, reawaken, a connection with Krishna. And we see this all over the world today, that due to Srila Prabhupada's establishment, of course his teachings primarily in the form of his written books have widely gone all over the world. Prasadam has gone everywhere. And is appreciated step by step, especially the prasadam. Even uninterested persons. Yesterday, there's this one man who comes up every week. Unfortunately, it's a great, well, I say that with real heart intent. It's greatly unfortunate we don't have prasadam to distribute on the Harinam. We used to have. But unfortunately, it's not there now. And, we have our restaurant, but not so many people go. But on the street, we used to distribute 500 in tours, 600, 700 cookies every week. Greatly fortunate, all by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Helping to control people's senses. This is one man who comes up every week and he only asks one question: have you got any cookies? After years of no cookies, he's still asking the same question. Another man came up yesterday, educated man, and he gave quite a sizable donation. And he was very happy to see, I was alone, sitting alone. But he was very happy to see a Hare Krishna devotee. He'd been to our temple in Vrindavan. And he said in the past, when he was not so rich, he said, I liked so much the Hare Krishnas, they'd always feed me. They'd always feed me. So anyway, he took all the books and gave a donation. It changes people's hearts. They don't realize it. We may not even see it particularly, but it has this effect of softening their hearts, which is so hard. It's very hard. Even our hearts, it's very difficult for us to change, we find. And this song, O Hey Vaisnava Thakur, is particularly an appeal to those eternal associates, to help us to control our senses. We ask so many questions about how this, how that, how to become humble, how to get free of anger, how to become, free of lust, and on the list may go. There are some external applications which need to say are of great value, but the real essential factors are, first of all, do we really desire it, or are we simply parrot-like repetition? How much is our desire with understanding of what it means? We have to have a little understanding of what it means to be humble or proud or whatever it may be that we're trying to attain or become free of. And then, do we really desire that? If our desire is sincere, then Krishna, and we appeal to Krishna, we have to make an effort. And that inner effort, these great devotees, is by their mercy that Krishna bestows his mercy. We can pray to Krishna directly, but ultimately, without pleasing the pure devotees, we cannot expect to get that direct reciprocation. So we pray to the pure devotees. We pray to the Lord as well for their mercy. It's by their mercy that one may become freed from the shackles of material existence. And this is, their mercy comes in many ways. The easy way, of course, we've already briefly heard. They preach, they give their association, they establish some means by which persons in this world can connect with Krishna consciousness, not just in their personal presence, but ongoing. They leave literatures in this day and age which are there available for anyone to take advantage of, and many other ways. But there's the internal presence also. We may not see that. We tend to be a little bit external. But if we're sincere, we really have a little bit of faith in Krishna consciousness. And we should understand that they're not like an ordinary person who comes and goes. Their presence is there. They're always present. We may not see them because we're looking through gross eyes. We're trying to see things through gross eyes. So even they remain, in the case of our Prabhupada, in the form of a deity to remind us, pictures, and so on. But that internal connection, that internal taking shelter of the pure devotees of the Lord is the process of transformation in our hearts. Prasangamajaram Pasham. Lord Kapila Dev describes how the greatest entanglement for the living entity is our inclination, our attraction towards sense gratification, seeing ourselves in the center. We're attached to seeing ourselves as the enjoyer in so many ways. That same attachment, when transferred to the pure devotees of the Lord, is the cause of our liberation or freedom from bondage in this world, which is almost a prerequisite. Krishna can do anything, but generally this is a prerequisite before we can expect in the awakening of pure love of Godhead. They do go on, knowingly or unknowingly, simultaneously, but from our perspective, this is one factor of the practice of sadhana or devotional service in practice, is the freedom from material attachments. They may still be there. We shouldn't be an illusion. We're contacting the material world every day, you could say. What to speak of our past contact, which is present before us in the form of so many desires, tendencies, karmic reactions from the past. They're there, but it's whether we're attached to them or not. It's not whether they're there or not. Of course, in the pure stage, they won't be there. But at our stage, they will be there. So it's a matter of whether we're attached to them or whether we're attached to Krishna. Whether we're attached to our own vision of how things should be or whether we're attached to Krishna's vision. Whether we're seeing Krishna's hand working or whether we're seeing someone else's hand working. This is our challenge. This is our, you could say, the change of heart, which when applied properly to association with the pure devotees directly or through their instructions, applying those instructions sincerely in our lives, the transformation can take place. So this verse is an appeal, this song rather is an appeal to those great souls to control. Please help me to control my six senses and so on and so forth. Only by their mercy are we able to carry on with this Sankirtan movement. We're appealing to them because we have no attraction for pure devotional service. We have some sentimental hope. We have some attraction for whatever we are doing now. But what does pure devotion mean? Well, that mission of the pure devotees is to guide us on that path towards pure devotion, towards unalloyed, pure love of God, unknown in this world. This sentiment only, words, a little bit of action. The Prabhupada this is the revolution. It's really established the essence, the nature of every living being. So we'll move on to the song. Do you find it? Oh, hey, Vaisnava Thakura, hands up those who have it available, either in their hearts, on the songbook, or on their mobiles, or somewhere. Do you have it? Hands up those who have it. And some of you obviously don't have it. Try to sit next to somebody who does have it, if you need to. Now, it would be, we used to, I don't know about in France, Gopaswami Prabhu. Did you used to sing a lot of bhajans here in France when you joined?
Not now.
Not now. Yes, no, I don't know. But when we were early days in this mission, it was a daily affair to sing the songs of the Vaishnavacharyas. It was part of the daily schedule. It wasn't like, squeeze it in quickly in the middle of some kirtan amongst 10 other things. But it was a scheduled program every day, singing Vaishnava bhajans. Part of the evening program in London. And then also daily greetings. Well, things were a little simpler, actually. We didn't have Guru Puja in the early days when I was in the temple. We didn't have Tulsi Puja. It was very simple. So there was more time, you could say, for, singing these type of bhajans. And whatever. But it was part of the schedule in the evening, every evening, 8:30 till 9 o'clock. 30 minutes of bhajan. Every night of the week, except Sunday, which was guest day. Every devotee was fully absorbed in serving the guests on Sunday. But during the week, every devotee would be there for the bhajan class. Bhajan class isn't the word. Bhajan session. So this is one of the songs which we learned in those days. We learned, I don't know, quite a lot of the songs from the songbook. Our songbook we call ISKCON songbook, which is only a tiny fragment of the songs of Narottam Das, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Lochan Das and others. But it's a little drop of the ocean of nectar is probably more than sufficient. So we'll sing this song if we can. We have a Madanga player, yes, we do. We have a harmonium player, and Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. You have a book. Anyone actually have a book? Do they exist anymore? They do. We have tons of them in the book room. French and English not so much. We have some, but French particularly we have songbooks available. If any of you visitors from London want a French songbook, you can see me afterwards. Okay? Learn French. I haven't learned. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Madhava Krishna Balaram Gauri Nitai Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, so gorgeous. You've got a matching outfit today, Lochan. You've got the right colors there. Kind of a purplish looking bead bag and a nice, what's that color called? What was it called? This greeny, bluey, what's it called? I don't know. Huh? I know. You can see what it is. Yeah, you need something. Very good. Looks nice. Yeah, if you've got a songbook, please give, just, memory. We're getting physically, and the brain is part of the physical frame, so, it doesn't always work quite the way it used to. Oh, hey, Vaisnava Thakura, Doyara Sagara, Heda se karuna kori. Oh, hey. Thank you very much. Navasakura. Doyara sagara. Heda se karuna kori. Diya Parachaya Shoda Hai Amaya Tomar Charana Dori. Diya Parachaya Shoda Hai Amaya Jaya Begadomi Jaya dosha shori, Jaya gun dehodase. Jaya satsanga deho he amare. Tomara charana dori. Jaya satsanga Teo hai amare Ose che sangerase Ekaki amara Nahi bhai bolo Hari naam Sankirtane Ekaki amara Nahi bhai bolo Tumi kripa kari Shraddha bindu diya Deho Krishna namadani Krishna se tomara, Krishna didipara, tomara shakati aje. Krishna se tomara, Krishna didipara. Amito Kangala, Krishna Krishna bole, Taitava Pache Pache. Taitava Pache Pache. Vaisnava Thakura, Doyara Sakura, Eda se Karuna Kori. Hey, Vaisnava Thakura, Eda se Karuna. Eda se karuna kori, Eda se karuna kori. Ohe Vaishnava Thakura, Vaishnava Thakura, Ohe Vaishnava Thakura, Ohe Vaishnava Thakura. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakura, hey Vaishnava Thakura, Vaishnava Thakura, hey Vaishnava Thakura. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, O Vaishnava Thakur, O ocean of mercy, be merciful to me, your servant, and purify me by the shade of your lotus feet. Your feet I humbly hold. Controlling my 6 urges, purify me of the 6 faults. Please give to your servant the 6 good qualities. Oh, give me the 6 kinds of holy association. I have sat down here in the hope of having your company. Alone, I find I have no strength to chant the holy name of Lord Hari. I beg you, therefore, please be merciful. And with a particle of faith, give me the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours. You are able to give him to me, for such is your power. I am indeed wretched and simply run after you, crying, Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna. You have to test, as a test for you. Vishakamata is doing a presentation on nectar of devotion. Am I correct?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So there's another very wonderful presentation, literary presentation by Rupa Goswami. It's almost like a condensed essence of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, called Sri Upadeshamrita, the nectar of instruction. So you can read, this is directly taken, you could say, from the first verses of Nectar of Instruction. So if you want to find out, you can read also in there's a little bit of a, what do you call, note at the bottom of the page, but otherwise you can read about our 6 thoughts. You can read about the 6 favorable qualities. You can read about the 6 types of favorable association and so on in the Nectar of Instruction. So I highly recommend it. Oh, the tissues are here. That you take advantage of that opportunity. Prabhupada, it was very wonderful. Perhaps some of you may have been there, I don't know, but in 1976 in Mayapur, when the book became available in mass, you could say, for the devotees, it was very exciting. We were all sitting around reading the Nectar of Instruction. It was a very special event, and especially when we went to Vrindavan, we misunderstood it a little bit. We jumped to the last verses and didn't really apply the earlier ones first. And we kind of misbehaved in Radha Kund a little bit there. But aside from that, it was amazing. And we used to distribute this book in mass in England. I mean, we printed them by the hundreds of thousands to distribute all over the country. I don't know what the general population were thinking. Amazing. But one comment was that this was done by some kind of survey that some company did of our books. And they said this book is very special because it really tells people what you're doing. It's straight to the point. It's not like a bit of this and that. It's straight to the point. And it is. For devotees, Prabhupada says, this book especially is meant for neophyte devotees. So I know you're all way beyond the neophyte stage. You're probably all high up there somewhere, I don't know. But at least for the likes of myself, this book is very essential reminder and guidebook also. Now, where are we reading from the Lilamrta? Is there a marker? Yes, there is. And do you know where we're reading on this page? Vishnu Jan, you're usually the man. No, we don't know. Does anyone know? I don't know. If last week, the reader is with us today. Okay, well, I'll just read from where I am, where my eyes are. Om Gyanatimrandasya Dhananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Shvayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paschachade Shatarine. I think some of our assembled Vaishnavas, who is the coordinator here? Your coordinator, Pankaj? I think some of the devotees are not familiar with the prayers. Is that right?
Again?
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya.
Maharaj, maybe, because quite a few people are new.
Very new, wonderful.
Yeah.
That was a nice thing to know, how we can, when we address somebody, it's nice to know how to address them nicely. Huh? This is an address to our spiritual master. More than an address, it's a relationship also. You can hear about that more later. Krishna consciousness is all about relationship. So now we're going to have a little relationship with Prabhupada. If you haven't got it, This is the, it's a big version, isn't it? There's 2 volumes to this actually. This is the, there are many different approaches, and other devotees have also written their aspect of their relationship with Prabhupada, their spiritual master and so on. But this is the general one, covering the whole pastimes that we know of Srila Prabhupada, to some degree at least. And we're reading here, this chapter is called Beyond the Lower East Side. So for those who are new, and even if we're not new, it doesn't matter, it's nice to hear again, the Lower East Side, that is an area of Manhattan. You know Manhattan in New York? Some of you have been there. It's the center of New York, basically speaking. So the Lower East Side was at that time, you could say, a little bit downtrodden. It wasn't so opulent, to say the least. It was inhabited mostly by migrants, rather poor on the, say, the financial scale, and hippies had moved into that area by the thousand. And by Krishna's arrangement, Prabhupada had settled there, in a place called 2nd Avenue. And so that area is called the Lower East Side. At least it was, I suppose it still is. So beyond the Lower East Side, let's see what it's here. Satsvarup Maharaj, who compiled this with the help of others, writes, "The Gate Theatre was a small auditorium on 2nd Avenue, about 10 blocks north of the storefront." I don't know if you use that terminology, blocks. You know, there's like, in America it's more appropriate. In England it's not so appropriate in many cases. We don't have blocks. The roads are all at different angles, you know, isn't it? In many of the old cities, they're not like this. In America, all the streets like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they're all in blocks, almost all. But in Europe, not so much. In the old cities, maybe the new ones, I don't know. So block means like 1 block, so 10 blocks away. Satsvarup. Satsvarup was there at the time. He joined the movement in 1966, when Srila Prabhupada started his first center in New York. The temple was just a little storefront, quite small. Some of you have been there maybe. We rented the Gate Theatre for 1 night. It was a dark place, painted all black. The theatre was almost empty. We had an easel on stage with a painting of the Panchatattva. Swamiji, in those days the devotees addressed Prabhupada as Swamiji. We don't hear that now, but maybe to other devotees who have accepted sannyas, but now everyone addressed Prabhupada as Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. But then the devotees were addressing him as Swamiji. Swamiji spoke, and his talk became very technical. Pointing and referring back to the painting, he described each member of the Panchatattva. Thus now we have, Srila Prabhupada has given us the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is such a nectarian literature describing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers. And particularly this description of their actual, who they actually are, and you could say from our point of view, who they represent, is quite technical, beyond probably most of our brain capacity or intellectual capacity to kind of digest almost. He first explained that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing as a pure devotee. Although he's God, Lord Chaitanya is behaving like a pure devotee. This was one of his intentions of appearing in this world, was to relish the nectar which the devotees feel in their service to Krishna, the ecstasy, the bliss. So in the form of a pure devotee, he's tasting that nectar. Lord Nityananda, to the right of Lord Chaitanya, is his first expansion. And to the right of Lord Nityananda is Advaita, who is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. It's quite perplexing to conditioned minds whose concept of God is kind of limited, not understanding his various unlimited forms, unlimited energies, and so on. To the left of Lord Chaitanya, he said, is Gadadhar, the internal energy. Right now we're in what's they call external material energy. So this is like a reflection of the spiritual energy. That spiritual energy is personified here as Gadadhar, the internal energy. And Srivas is the perfect devotee. He takes the role in the sense of jivatap. It means the living entity, not God playing the part of a devotee, but the devotee themselves, perfection of devotion. During the talk, I was thinking that this was maybe too elevated for the audience. But I was sitting close beside Swamiji. And like the other devotees, I was really enjoying being with him. After the gate engagement, Swamiji and his disciples agreed that it was a waste of time trying to rent theatres. It was better to go to Tompkins Square Park. That was the best place for attracting people, and it didn't cost anything. Interesting. Huh? Oh. It's like that when you go out. Of course, we do also have public programs in halls, and they can be very effective also. But going out into the public marketplaces, streets, wherever, how many people come in contact with Krishna consciousness? In London, you have your daily Harinam along Oxford Street. Some of you may have participated, and Saturday in Piccadilly, and other places, of course. But every day on Oxford Street, I don't know the latest statistics, but the statistics used to be that at least 1 million people daily would be on Oxford Street. Not all at once, but throughout the day. It's perhaps the busiest pedestrian street in the world, I don't know. But it's very, very busy. And the Harinam now is still going out. How many times a day? Twice a day sometimes, I think. Is that right, Harini?
Once a day.
At least once. We used to go out 3 times, but once, twice, thrice. We used to go out twice when we were in our early days in the temple. We would leave at 9:30 in the morning, finish at 1, take an hour's break, start again at 2, and carry on till 6. So there's like 7.5 hours up and down Oxford Street. That was a normal day. On special days it would be longer. Festival days, it'd be longer. Lord Chaitanya's appearance day would be longer usually. But so many people take that mental picture of the holy name of a Sankirtan party. That mental picture which never goes away, by the way. Other pictures come and go according to karma. They formulate a particular perception, but they don't stay in as themselves necessarily. But the holy name, or the picture of the devotees, never goes away. It gradually builds up and up and up. So just by seeing the Sankirtan party, or some kind of hearing, they're getting benefited. And that's one of the reasons we go out, not just to have a good time, But it's actually so that everyone can get that opportunity to associate. It was 11 p.m. and only one light was on in Swamiji's apartment, in the kitchenette. Swamiji was staying up, teaching Kirtanananda and Brahmananda how to cook, because the next day, Sunday, they would be holding a feast for the public. Used to be called the Sunday Love Feast. I don't know if that term is appropriate nowadays. Maybe not the same, I don't know. But we used to call it the Sunday Love Feast because it was a time of love and peace, with the youngsters all looking for love, whatever that is. Love and peace. They had a different idea of love, maybe, but still the term was very attractive to people. Sunday Love Feast.
We still have March.
Pardon?
We still say that in Manila.
You still say that at the manor, do you? Okay. So I don't know if it's the same as it used to be. Because the Sunday Love Feast we didn't have an Indian community in 1971, 72. Maybe one or two Indians would pop in now and again, but hardly any. It was all white people, young white people mostly. And we would pick them up on the street, all week long, inviting them to the Sunday Love Feast. Same here. All week long, inviting people and eagerly hoping they're coming. We had no mobiles in those days to contact people. We didn't even have telephone in Bury Place when not even a phone. That came in after some time. People didn't use phones in those days much. It was all word of mouth, So we'd go into the areas where they were and try to encourage them to come for the Sunday Love Feast. And the temple would be packed with young white people. And the feast would be out of this world. This term? Out of the world. Out of this world. Do you know that term? Yeah. Not just some, rice, dal, sabji, and, some burnt sweet rice or something. What they serve nowadays. Oh, it was, you can spend hours. We would start the Sunday feast on Monday, the day after the Sunday, planning the Sunday Love Feast, discussing what was popular and what could be added or made improved and so on. All week long, because we had no money whatsoever for the feast. There wasn't 1 penny for the feast. There was £5 a week for food. That was all for the deity's offering. There was not a penny for devotee prasadam available. Not one. We had to beg everything. So the cook for the next Sunday would all week be trying to find ways of getting the bhoga together for the Sunday feast. And it was always immaculate, incredible feasts every week. At least 12 to 15 preparations every Sunday, every week. That's what really attracted people, the kirtan and the prasadam. They couldn't really focus in much on the philosophy, most of them. So Prabhupada was one of the main things. Early days, 66, he's teaching Brahmananda and Kirtananda how to cook. So they could continue this program. Kirtananda had suggested it be advertised as a love feast, and Swamiji had adopted the name, although some thought it sounded strange at first to hear him say, love feast. The devotees have put up posters around the neighborhood, just like you put posters up around here advertising next Saturday's public program, and made a sign for the window of the storefront, and Swamiji had said he would cook enough for at least 50 people. He said the love feast should become an important part of ISKCON. As he had explained many times, food offered to Krishna becomes spiritual, and whoever eats the prasadam receives great spiritual benefit. Prasadam meant mercy. Mercy. His 2 helpers stood respectfully beside him, sometimes stepping back out of his way as he moved and sometimes looking over his shoulder as he mixed spices, or set a pan over the flame, or called for another ingredient. It's like when you're in the dental clinic or something, the dentist says, bring this, bring that, bring this, bring that. It's like a real art. He was stirring a big pot of sweet rice with a wooden spoon. It had to be stirred constantly and slowly adding milk. That's interesting. If the sweet rice burned, it would be ruined, he said. And he handed the spoon to Kirtanananda. He next showed them how to make ghee by heating butter in a wok and separating the milk solids from the butter fat. And he simultaneously taught them how to make apple chutney. These are just basics. It's interesting, the butter, we used to be able to get free butter. There was some kind of outlet, I've forgotten what it was, but they used to give free butter to needy associations, and some or other we qualified. So every week we get a box of butter, and we'd turn it into ghee. Ghee was almost unavailable and very expensive if it were available. So we'd make ghee out of the butter. And it would take quite a while boiling the butter, carefully done, and scooping off the top, and putting it aside. We wouldn't waste anything. Even the top was fully utilized, the bits thrown away. They were spread on chapatis or put into sabji or something. And this way they made ghee. And the sweet rice was very special. I mean, there are different ways of making sweet rice, and this Prabhupada's teaching one here. Another way is we would cook the sweet rice. We'd start at 10 o'clock at night, finish at 6 in the morning. And it's a long science, but leave it all night on the cooker, all night, just on a very low flame. And the sweet rice would gradually become completely kind of homogeneous almost. The rice would be completely like floating, completely suspended in this creamy kind of condensed milk, suspended there. And then in the winter we put it in a churn and put it in the lake at Bhaktivedanta Manor to cool it down. And we were there, or in the fridge if you had one, to cool it down after a while. And it would be so creamy, it should be cold, very cold. Not like straight off the oven, hot, uncooked sweet rice. Sometimes it's like that, hopefully not, but sometimes it is. And just the amount of sugar, so it's just absolutely irresistible. And of course you put other things in there, like maybe some raisins, fried cashews, maybe some little bit of, even spicing sometimes. Different varieties are there. Strawberries, frozen strawberries. You don't use frozen strawberries, but we didn't know in those days. Sometimes we get frozen strawberries, and so I put them in there, cool it down. After the rice is cooled down, so it doesn't curdle, of course. But all these things that make it absolutely, irresistible. Irresistible. And then you have that with big, round, puffed up puris. Nice. They can be hot, but they're not always possible to do that. You take that halava the same. We cook the halava for a long time, stirring it slowly so that it doesn't burn and it's fully absorbing the butter and so on. He next showed them how to make ghee. We read that. And Prabhupada was silent as he cooked. And when Brahmananda asked him how he had learned so much about cooking, Prabhupada said that he had learned by watching his mother. He laughed and said it had not been like it in the West. It had not been like it is in the West, where you take a lump of flesh from your refrigerator, throw it in a pan, boil it, sprinkle it with salt, then eat like an animal. Most people cooking in the West is, most of you here are from Indian origin, but mostly in the West is Cooking is quite simple, to say the least. And in Korea, he said, they eat dogs. But human beings should eat grains, fruits, vegetables, and milk, and the cow especially should not be killed. I mean, every preparation of Prabhupada so much used milk products. It was like the essential feature of the prasadam. I know veganism is very common. And there are obviously moral reasons why people feel that way, and other reasons too maybe, but we're here to become Krishna conscious. We're not here to become moralists, or it may help with the preaching, you could say sometimes, but we're here to become Krishna conscious. We're here to please Krishna. So we offer him what he likes. That's the main feature, is make it for Krishna's pleasure. When Prabhupada first arrived in Auckland in 1972, he asked Jagatarini, Bhajan Prabhupada's wife, he just came from the Philippines, he just flew in from the Philippines. And in Philippines they also used to eat dogs. And some people, not everybody. So. And Prabhupada's first question when he spoke to Jagat, do they eat dogs in New Zealand? He was shocked, you know. Imagine eating dogs in the Western world. They're like gods, basically speaking. People almost worship the dog. And then Prabhupada asked that question in the car. Swamiji, where we get? Yeah. While Brahmananda cut the apples for the chutney and put them in a pot for steaming, and Kirtananda stirred the sweet rice, Swamiji prepared masala, the basic mixture of spices which he would soon add to the steaming apples. The familiar smell of red pepper and cumin seeds entered their nostrils sharply as the masala crackled and smoked in the hot ghee in the tiny frying pan. With 3 separate operations going at once, sweet rice, steaming apples and masala, Prabhupada cautioned Kirtananda to stir the sweet rice steadily and scrape the bottom of the pot. That's the one way. This is the, you could say, the quick way. But we didn't stir the bottom of the pot, we let it lie, and then in the morning transferred the sweet rice into another pot. So the burning didn't actually enter into the rice, sweet into the milk. He took the spoon for a moment from Kirtananda's hand and demonstrated how to stir it properly. Sweet rice, chutney, and certain other dishes could be made in advance of the feast, he explained, but many things would have to be done the next morning. We make the chutney, the sweets, the gulabs would be made on Thursday night, or latest Friday. So they would soak for at least 2 days in the sugar water, whatever you're using. Maybe tipped with a little rose water or something, but they would soak there for 2 days. And you're one of the heroes of Bhaktivedanta Manor, Mother Kalangana. You may have heard of Mother Kalangana, and many of you know Mother Kalangana. She was absolutely not just a sweet maker, but she could make anything practically. She was our cook, and as in very place later on, she became our cook. And she could make a feast out of next to nothing. Nobody else would cook. She could go in there and transform a sack of potatoes into a feast that you could never forget. It was empowered, because her heart was so absorbed in pleasing devotees and pleasing Krishna. And talking about gulabs, she would make these gulabs. They were, I don't know how big, not quite as big as a tennis ball, but something between a ping pong ball and a tennis ball. They were like this big, and they were complete. I mean, they were like, I couldn't get them in your mouth practically. They were so big. And they were completely soft and so delicious, properly cooked, Sometimes they're only on the outside, and inside's a bit of a hard bit of dough on the inside. And not sweet or something like that. They're going to be done properly. You can tell how much I'm relishing this. My mouth's watering. Prabhupada rose early, despite having kept late hours the night before, and after the morning class he was back in the kitchen. Now 6 disciples sat in his front room making dough for puris and samosas. He had shown them how to make the dough, and Umapati had kneaded for a while by pounding the soft dough with his fists. But Brahmananda was better at it, socking don't hear that word, man. Socking the weight of his restless body onto the large lump of dough. You've got to read. It's good for your muscles making puris. As Swamiji entered the room to examine the quality of the puris, his disciples looked up at him respectfully. They were always serious when he was present. He picked up a puri and examined it. It is not to the standard, he said, but it will have to do. Then amid crumpled rejects and oddly shaped pieces of dough, he squatted down beside his helpers, who were trying as best as they could, though making a mess. You know how difficult when you first start rolling puris, isn't it? You've got to get the dough the right texture and everything, you know. And we would never use flour to roll the puris. You had to roll them in ghee, you know. The flour sometimes burns in the pan. So we would use ghee, and you have to roll them just right so they're not fat on one side and thin on the other, which is often the case, shaped like a triangle or something, like this way and that way. They have to be perfectly round and just the right thickness so that they puff up like a football when you put them in there. Just 5 seconds, it's ready practically. You can learn the art of rolling puris. You can easily roll 10, 20 puris in an hour, in a minute, practically speaking, if you really know what you're doing. He took a small ball of dough, pressed it flat with his fingers, and then deftly rolled it out until it curled around the wooden pin and then fell off. A perfectly round puri. He held it up, displaying a translucent, thin, but not too thin, patty of dough. Make them like this, he said. But hurry. On discovering the dough was too stiff, Swamiji added a little ghee and then a little milk. Oh, he put milk in. And kneaded the dough to a softer texture. Everything should be just right, he said. And his disciples took to their menial tasks with concentrated earnestness. Who among them had ever heard of these things before? Puris and samosas. Samosas were a must every Sunday feast. A must. They were so good, samosas. They would really make sure they were good. Usually cook the filling the day before, the night before. Yes. It was all new, and the challenge something very important. It was a part of devotional service. Swamiji did much of the cooking as he simultaneously supervised his helpers. He was always near, walking barefoot back to the kitchen, then to the front room, then to his own room in the rear, and even when he went to the back room, his disciples could see him through the window of the wall. Swamiji saw each of the nearly 12 dishes to its final stages, and his disciples carried them into the front room in pots, one by one, and placed them before the picture of Lord Chaitanya. There was halava, dal, 2 sabjis, fancy rice, puris, samosas, sweet rice, apple chutney, and gulab jamuns, or sweet balls, ISKCON bullets. Prabhupada had personally spent much time slowly deep frying the sweet balls on a low heat until they had turned golden brown and full. Then one by one he had lifted them out of the ghee with a slotted spoon and put them to soak in sugar syrup. He recognized that these golden ghee-fried milk balls soaked with sugar water were his disciples' favorite prasadam treat, gulab jamuns. He called them ISKCON bullets because they were weapons in the war against Maya. He even allowed that a jar of ISKCON bullets floating in their syrup be always on hand in the front room, where his disciples could take them without asking permission and without observing any regulated hours. They could take as many as they liked. Now you can see why people stayed. Kirtananda brought in the samosa filling, which he had prepared from spinach and green peas cooked to a paste, and which the Swami had heavily spiced. Stuffing the samosas was an art, and Swamiji showed them how to do it. He took a semicircle of dough, shaped it into a cone, stuffed it with a spoonful of filling, then folded the top over and sealed it, a samosa, ready for the hot ghee. It's funny, with all our machines nowadays, we don't seem to be able to do it quite like this. Achyutananda carried the imperfectly shaped puras into the kitchen, where he and Kirtananda deep fried them 2 at a time. If the temperature of the ghee, the consistency of the dough, and the size, shape, and thickness of the puras were all just right, the puras would cook only in a few seconds, rising to the surface of the ghee, where they would inflate like little balloons. The cooks then stood on edge in a the cooks then stood, this was an important part, listen to this. The cooks then stood them on edge in a cardboard box to drain off the excess ghee. And so they were upright, not flat on top of each other, so they become, the ones at the bottom become soggy, oily balls. You can roll back into dough. I often do that. I get puri at some of the temples. I roll it back into a ball and fry it again. It's just like a lump of oily dough. They've got to be properly cooked. Drain off the excess ghee, so there's no excess ghee at all. As they completed the last preparations for the feast, Swamiji's disciples washed the stiff dough from their hands and went down to the storefront, where they set out the straw mats and awaited the guests and the feast. The funny thing was, in those days we had no money, but we never cooked in oil. Never. Only in ghee. Somehow or another we would get ghee. We didn't steal it, but somehow we'd get it. We didn't use much ghee. I mean, to cook 100 puras only took a little bit of ghee. Didn't take much. Well, upstairs, Swamiji and a couple of his cooks offered all the preparations to Lord Chaitanya, reciting the Paramparam prayer. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we're at the bottom of page 519. There's a break there, page 519. Vishnu Jan Prabhu. If it's next week, or maybe the class will be not on, but when the next class of the Lilamrta, remember that bottom right hand. Okay. So you have to come back next time to get the love feast, I'm afraid. It's just been prepared, but it hasn't been distributed yet, so you have to come back in maybe 2 weeks' time for the actual distribution of the love feast. It would be nice one day to try to replicate the Sunday Love Feast that Prabhupada started. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you all very much. So have a great day. Your nectar of devotion. You have a class this morning?
Yes, Maharaj.
What time?
11:30.
Where?
Seminar next week.
11:30 to 1:30, like that?
11:30 to 1, Maharaj.
And then another one this
And
afternoon?
there's a workshop in the evening from 4:30 to 6.
Oh, you're going to be working this evening, is it?
Yes.
What are they going to do?
Maharaj.
What are they doing? Cutting wood, or what are they going to be doing? What type of work? That's nectar of devotion, Do something. Do something useful. So you have another workshop without that. Where are you having the sessions?
Next door.
Huh?
Next door.
Oh, in that room there. Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol. Thank you. Hare Krishna.